Hey guys, welcome back to Horror Movie Rewind, or welcome for the first time. In any case, if you haven't done so before, really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button below us, the like as well. Sorry, that wasn't dirty. Yeah, so obviously you can read. There's a lot going on in this episode. I got a lot to say. So I'm not going to do a complete recap. Just going to talk about a couple of the Easter eggs, a couple of the characters that we met, but we've already met before. So with that being said, I'm going to cut it out. Let's get started. So yeah, you got two beat cops or whatever, kicking it in the car. Except for I don't think so. You don't get a name from either one of them, but I'm pretty sure we could ID one. Look at the uniforms. Best movie of all time, in my opinion, Shawshank Redemption. Shoulder strap, badged in the same spot. Let's look right here.
In the movie theater. With the candlestick.
Little Philly Malkin went to school with my boy. Show some respect.
Sorry.
Sitting in the driver's seat, that's going to be the infamous asshole Captain Hadley. Now, the reason why I say this is because this scene right here basically is a tongue-in-cheek reference to the first time you meet Hadley in Shawshank Redemption.
What do you think you did to him? A lot of blood? No bodies?
How the hell should I know? Maybe he ate him.
Any questions? When do we eat? You eat when we say you eat.
Infamous line, when do we eat? And then the little smart ass remark, maybe he ate him. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. The uniforms, if you're going by the timelines, Shawshank essentially ended in 67, I want to say. And obviously that ended with Hadley being incarcerated for what Red said, a minimum of 20 years. No, but this is 1963. And Shawshank Prison is right down the road. And we also know that at this time, and especially in this community or this area, cops aren't necessarily on the up and up, as they probably would have said in the 60s. Now, why he was there, I don't know, but he was a captain. Pretty sure that is Captain Hadley right there. He mentions having a kid that went to school with Philip. He does have kids in Shawshank. They probably would have been around that age. He would have looked this way around that age. We see him age progress, obviously, because Shawshank is a 20-year timeline. And no, that's fucking him. That's what I'm going to say, right? Next thing we'll find out is the guy that was kind of giving a weird look to Leroy Hanlon is actually Dick Halloran.
Okay, would you be sure to let him know Dick Howard is out here?
The guy that shines from The Shining, right? Yeah. They're blunt about that. This isn't a speculation. Pretty much, he flexes that name to gate guard at the Air Force Base. And so we find out that that's Dick Halloran, and that the Army's using him for what we would find out is to find essentially it, or Pennywise. Now, while we're on that part right here, something I couldn't help but notice, really no reason to, because completely different genres movies, but I couldn't help but laugh with James Remar playing the character he plays in this one, and there's no way that you guys didn't do this on purpose.
Is this normal?
Dismissed. Welcome to Operation Precept, a classified DoD crash program with a single purpose: to win the Cold War.
Come on, dude. Boy, in hell that was oh shit, we forgot about that. But so we meet Dick Halloran, the guy who, probably the most anticlimactic death in any Stephen King film adaptation. He worked his ass off to die in The Shining. We also get what I will call the Overlook Supermarket. Real quick before we do that, I'm not going to review them because the hell am I? But this is kind of how these videos are going to be, for better or worse. I'm just going to point out some things that entertain me, and hopefully they entertain you. I'm not going to treat you like a moron. I'm not going to treat you like an idiot. Don't need to tell you what happened. I probably will at some point, maybe if they do a halfway, like, splice for this series this season, go back and pick out all of the relatives. I'll save that for one video. It's not, that bores the shit out of people, like, unless you're watching a video where that's the central focus. I'm also not gonna, like, break down the intro video, I know, by accident, because again, I say it every video. I don't watch anybody else's reviews, but I couldn't help but see it, that people were doing like reviews of the intro, which we didn't see in episode 1. So this was the first time. And I don't think you're a moron. Like, it's essentially what you have learned in the previous 2 films. I will point out this one thing from that intro, though. Ben's father from the Tim Curry miniseries. And I don't know why, man. For some reason, like, that scene is always, like, cracked me up. Even when I was a kid. Like, laugh my ass off. And I still do.
Hi, Ben. That's my home now, son.
Hold on, what? You can't tell me that guy I just showed you a photo of, this guy from the animated version from the title video. He looks just like him. I don't know if it makes sense. I'm not saying it is. Hell, it might be somebody else that I'm supposed to know who it is, and I look like an idiot saying this. I don't care. Like, look at them pearly whites, man. I like to think that's my guy. Yeah, I'm not gonna break down the whole supermarket scene either. It would take forever. I'm not gonna show all the items. I'm not gonna tell you how they're wearing bow ties like Brooks did in Shawshank when he got out of prison when they're bagging groceries. I'm not going to tell you about last names that pop up every now and then on posters. But, yeah, I'll show the products that are in The Shining that pop up in this scene. But I am going to say this, and maybe I'm an idiot, but they went hard in the paint on High C. I recognized a lot of them, like Callum, Frosted Flakes, the Libby's items like canned vegetables. But I never remembered, and I've watched The Shining many, many times, never remembered High C. And maybe it's a reference outside of The Shining. But I did remember that there's this. So yeah, there's Kool-Aid and Tang. I think they showed 3 or 4 times when Dick's showing them around dry storage. So I almost wonder, and again, you might be laughing your ass off at me right now. I almost wonder if it's like they didn't have the rights to it to do it, so they just kind of were poking fun at it in Welcome to Derry. And yeah, guys, appreciate you checking me out. All right, let's clip the fuck out of this thing.